Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Emerging Artist Grant 2023 workshop. We are in the last workshop of our series, and I just want to recognize our host, Charlene Harrison, our Grants and Business Manager.
Hi, good evening.
And I'm going to update my name so that you know who I am. I'm Kimberly DiVito. I am the Director of Tourism Product Development here at Creative Pinellas, and we are so happy to have you join us this evening. So we're just going to jump right into it. We know why we're here. We're going to go over some interesting facts and go over some questions you might have, and then a walkthrough of the application for the Emerging Artist Grant. So how do I know if I am an emerging artist? You want to take this, Charlene? How do people know out there that are watching?
Well, an emerging artist is someone who has actively working on improving their skills and impact as an artist, maybe somewhat known in their community where they live and work, and on an upward trajectory of participation in solo exhibitions, publications, or full performances of productions of their work.
All right, and so what is this grant all about? Well, this is the most coolest grant ever at Creative Pinellas because it actually does something with the community and emerging artists that we're creating relationships with and then building them up and supporting them in that endeavor. In fact, it goes across Pinellas County as far as elevating us as an arts and culture destination, which we already are, but adding emerging artists into that vortex really helps the community grow. And that's what this grant is all about. And then there's some more fun facts about the grant too, if you want to take this, Charlene.
Sure. Creative Pinellas provides up to 2,000 grants for artists who are emerging in their artistic practice. Grantees will be assigned an artist mentor to help them develop new artwork for the 2023 Emerging Artists Exhibition. Grantees are encouraged to decide for themselves how to use the award for their benefit and growth as artists.
And I think that's what makes this grant so much different is that you are elevated, you have a mentor, and there's a culminating exhibition at the end of your grant period, which is pretty cool.
Exciting. Yeah, that's exciting.
It is. And so what type of artists can apply to this grant? So this area of arts practice for an emerging artist is really focused on these art practices, which is choreography, interdisciplinary, which could be all forms of art, kind of like an art mashup right there. Literature, including poetry, fiction, creative nonfiction, and media arts, music composition, theater creation, which does include playwriting, directing, musical direction, stage design, and then of course the visual arts. So that's all things 2 and 3D. So here are important dates. We're kind of running down the clock here. In fact, our application opened up on July 11th and they close on September 6th. So if you are here with us tonight, you have a week to complete your application. And because applications do close at 11:59 on September 6th. However, we encourage you to hit the submit button the day before, just so that you have enough breathing room and time and space to complete the application. October 8th is the selection date, which will be held by a panel. October 17th is when the grant starts, and it culminates at the end of, or into 2023, of course, since they're 2023 emerging artists on July 24th. And we are now at the last workshop of our series on August 29th. So glad to have all of you out there in Facebook world join us tonight. And we hope that you find this of value and have your questions answered. All right, so what should you prepare?
Okay, you want to gather your files, your work samples, artist and vision statements, proof of Pinellas County residency. You must be a resident of Pinellas County for a year of the grant opening, which was July 11th. Your CV, resume, detailed description, and your support materials.
So now's the time, if you have any questions after that brief overview of the grant itself, go ahead, put them in the chat, and we'll answer them along the way. We did have one Facebook person said that they were disconnected, so we hope to have you back real soon. All right, so now we're going to jump into the SM Apply portion of our grant application. So one of the first things that we encourage you to do is to go to creativepinellas.org, and I will show you that. All right, so once you get to creativepinellas.org, you're going to either navigate to the Grants tab or go right here to the Emerging Artist Grant 2023. Next up, you'll find all of those dates that we talked about right here on the side, so you have a clear understanding of what is now and what is to come. And then if you scroll down, you'll also see the art practices that we talked about. And then this right here, the most important thing ever, is to download the grant guidelines for your review. It has lots more information in it than we're going to go over today. So we really encourage you to read those guidelines at your leisure. And before you go in and start to fill in the grant, you can start your application anytime, but really look at those guidelines. If you have any frequently or asked questions, we have something here for you. So if you get stuck or you're like, what did they say? You can go back here, and a lot of these things we have covered. And so you'll get more information right there. And then next is apply now. And once you go to apply now, I currently have an application open, but you're not seeing it because I'm not sharing that part of my screen. So I'm going to let Charlene take it away from the next step once you hit that apply now button.
Okay, so once you have selected your apply now, you should see your application screen. We have started it a little bit, so we kind of a little bit ahead of that. And Kim, I hope that I'm explaining it in the manner of where they would see their username and password information once they first log into Creative Pinellas. Okay, so for your application, your first stage that you will see is your guidelines and certification. You'll want to read through every inch of this, and this is similar to what you will see for your on your guidelines once you go to our creativepinellas.org page. And once you read through these, you will go to the bottom of your screen. And it is a ways down, I apologize. And it will say if you have answered all of these questions, you can go ahead and select yes, and you will provide a signature there. Your signature is digital. And you can either mark saved or you can mark as complete. This one I'm going to mark as saved and come back, and so I can edit. And the reason for this is to show you that if you have not completed your application, you will see that the circle is half full. And if you have completed it, you'll see a circle with a check mark in there. You'll want to make sure going through your stages that you do complete each one. So I'll mark this one as complete. And you'll move on to your next stage. This portion of your stage is the survey. You will go through each one and answer. You're at least 18 years of age. And again, you'll see this information in your guidelines. And Kim made it very clear that it's important to read your guidelines prior to completing your application. I'm a current and legal resident of Pinellas County, and you have been for at least 1 year prior to the open of the dates of the current emerging artist application. I am working to build a career as an artist, and I'm passionate about the work that I produce. I am an artist that creates work in one of the following areas. So this is where you would select the category that you're going to be submitting for your art. I am recognized by my peers for the quality of my work, but I have not yet had a significant record of solo exhibitions, publications, or full performances or production of my work. This is either either answer for this one. If it is false and you have not had that information, it's okay. And you can just complete on through. It doesn't matter if you do not have those publications or full performance, that does not disqualify you from applying for this grant. I'm applying for the Emergence Artist Grant to support my continued growth as an artist and to help build my portfolio towards professional artist level. I am not currently enrolled in any high school, undergraduate, or graduate degree seeking program that does include certificates with the same or similar focus to the artwork I create and will not be during any portion of the grant award period. If you have any questions on this section here, please provide that at this time and we can answer that fully for you. I've never been awarded this grant, and I have not been awarded a professional artist grant by Creative Pinellas. The EAG applicant contact information, you'll go through and you'll fill this information out.
And then this section, in this section here, it's good to take note of the social and your website. So you definitely need to supply a website that is available for panelists to review. And we encourage you to put your social handles in here, and if at all possible, to put those URLs, because then they would be easier to click on rather than like Kimberly.
If you're doing your artist work as a DBA, you can enter that information here as well. Anyone have any questions at this time as we go through and fill this information out?
There's just been one question that's related to uploading of work samples.
Mhm.
So we'll get to that.
Okay. Artist background, this is where you would select your category. Tell us more about what type of art you create within the category that you have created. And we have examples here for you to enter in that information. Arts education lists any educational experiences that have helped you develop as an artist, include degree and non-degree seeking programs. For non-degree programs, enter NA in the degree field. You may provide additional experiences in your resume if you wish. If you do not have educational experiences you want to list, please type NA in the name of the institution, selection in row 1. So it's important that you have that information there. It's good for us to see and good for the panelists to see. Awards.
And then keep in mind when you're, sorry, Charlene, when you're filling out that portion, you'll see how it's kind of like tucked over to the side. You can either use the bar like Charlene is doing right now, or you can hit tab as you enter in that information, but just so that you can fill out it in its entirety.
Yeah, thank you. Awards, list any awards that you have received for your artwork, awards, fellowships, residencies, grants, or prizes. You may include the most recent awards or the ones most important to you as an artist. And again, as Kim has stated, you can tab over or you can move the scroll bar there. Professional memberships, list any current memberships or roles you hold in arts or your community organizations. Once you've entered your information in, you can save and continue editing if you come up with some more information, or you can mark as complete.
And so some of these items we encourage you to have on hand before you sit down to actually do your application. So you're going to need a proof of residency. And as Charlene goes through, you'll see there's a couple other things that will need to be uploaded so that you just have them on deck. And that's what the what you need to have prepared for the work samples, your proof of residency, your CV, and your resume.
Take that away just for a minute there. Bring you up front, Kim, just so I can get that, the downloads there to add up on there.
Well, let's go to a question. So we have a question from the audience. I'm an artist with solo shows and group shows as well. I'm not a full-time artist now, but I would like to be a full-time in my art. I'm trying to introduce my work in Pinellas. Can I apply? And yes, I know that you're been a resident for more than 2 years, which purely you go through the qualification for the grant. And so we encourage you to fill out the application and apply. Thank you for the question.
That's a good question. You can either just click on the attachment and it will upload there. And you can see that your sample has been uploaded and your mark as complete. Your artist statement. This is your chance to introduce yourself as an artist and to help the people reviewing your application understand who you are before they take a look at your resume or your work. Here are some of the things about when writing your artist statement. Why are you an artist? What ideas and issues are you concerned with in your work? What is unique about how you create your work? Who do you hope to see? Who do you hope sees your work? And what response would you like for them to have? You would upload your file here. Kim, do we have any other questions at this time?
I'm reading one right now. So it's long. So Margot has a question.
Okay.
Yeah, let me read it because it's all not going to show on screen. And then we'll get back to you, Margot. Sorry about that.
That's okay. It's exhausting watching upload of documents.
So we encourage you, if as an emerging artist, this is your toolkit, the artist statement, your CV, or resume. These are things that you'll need continually when you go for grants. And so if you do not have those already, we don't have any workshops at the moment right now to go over how to build those, but we encourage you, just Google it, see how other people approach it, even look up people that are in your same art practice and see how they approach their statement and their CV.
Okay, your next stage, form for Emerging Artist Grant for Mentorship Response. Part of the Creative Pinellas Emerging Art Grants includes pairing you with a mentor, with a successful professional artist during your grant period. Creative Pinellas gives a careful consideration to finding a mentor who is a good fit, who will listen and who will have the ability and knowledge and experience to truly help the artist they are mentoring to grow. The mentorship is also important as part of the Emerging Artist Grant and is helpful to the people reviewing your application to understand why you want a mentor and what you expect and hope to get out of the program. So during the grant period, what would you as an emerging artist hope to accomplish that will further your growth? This you will want to be very specific about and type in why you would want a mentor and what they can do for you here. So you will type that information here. What are some of the ways you can benefit from a mentorship and why? What skills, abilities, and experiences would you like your mentor to have and why are these important to you? What are some ideas about you and your work that will help make a mentorship successful? And are you willing to work closely with a mentor and take on a learning role? Kim, did you have anything you would want to add for the mentorship? I know this is a good section here, and it's very important to fill this out, you know.
I think that some of our past emerging artists can really speak to that and hold space for how they progressed as an artist by having the mentorship. And sometimes it is a good fit. It works well. I've seen emerging artists even come to some of our other shows with their mentor. So, I mean, I think that it's a really cool aspect of the grant application period or the grant period itself, to have a mentor work with you and develop and be really collaborative. Because, as creatives, we need that feedback, but we need that collaboration. And that's one of the highlights of this grant.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Your next section is to upload a current artist CV or resume. You would upload that information here. And you said someone had a question in reference to work samples?
Yes. So someone, let's go back to that question.
Okay. And while you're looking that up, I can go ahead and speak on this.
So once we move on into the work samples section, Maxwell, this is where your answer will come. So they're already submitting 4 songs. Would it be possible for them to submit a video of one of their performances as well? And so this is where if you submit your 4 songs, you'll see that then there's work sample spaces for 5, 6, 7, 8. I think if that is the top, or there's a little bit more that you can go, but you can disclose why you're uploading that sample. And then we'll see from as we go through this part of the application, how you would do that.
Okay, so your guidelines to submit your work samples: choreography or media. Submit up to 4 completed original works or excerpts of original work. The total length of all work samples as a group can be no longer than 10 minutes. Literature. Submission format is PDF. You may also submit an MP4 of a live reading if you believe it strengthens your application. Fiction and nonfiction. Submit up to 4 original works that are, as a group, no longer than 20 pages or 10 minutes in total reading. Poetry. Submit up to 20 pages of poetry or the most unique and compelling part of the poetry collection. Music composition and media works. Submission format is PDF, MP3, or MP4s. And you can submit up to 4 completed original works or excerpts of original work. The length of the submitted pieces as a group should be no longer than 10 minutes total. Playwriting or screen readings. Submit format is the PDF. You will submit original work or your strongest excerpts from the original work. Photocopies from books, circulars, collections, or journals will not be accepted. Theater or musical theater submission format is MP4s. Visual arts and media arts submission format is JPEG, no more than 16 MB. Submit at least 6 or no more than 8 images of completed original work. The applicant is encouraged to provide high-quality photographic images that demonstrates the quality of the work, and also, if possible, to include images in a display environment. Interdisciplinary submits format PDF, MP3, MP4, and JPEG. Submit up to 4 completed original works or the strongest excerpts from original work. If MP3 or MP4, combined length total as a group should be no longer than 10 minutes. If JPEG, submit between 6 to 8 images of completed visual work. If PDF, submit no more than 20 pages, 10 minutes reading. And if you have any questions about materials, please contact us at grants@creativepinellas.org. Okay, as you go through your work samples, you can upload. You will submit your title, the duration, dimensions, the medium, and the year it was completed.
And so here is where you can get creative. So let's walk through this as a visual artist. So the title of your work would be My Work of Art. The dimension would be 24 by 24. The medium is acrylic on canvas, and the year completed is 2020. Then if you were to, and then you upload it. And then let's say, do you have an example of let's see, keep scrolling. Okay, so say you're a video production. So the title would be the title of your work. The duration would be 2 minutes. Your medium is a video content, and the year completed is 2021. So then if you were, let's say, a poet, so then your title would be your poem, the duration or dimension. The duration would be, maybe you use words, 100 words, 200 words, or 1 page. The medium is a poetry book or a select poem, and the year that you completed it. And so this section too is real important, that it's the best of. So for visual arts, it's your best of your series or the best of your art practice that you can put before a panel. If you are in any of the other categories, if you are, for instance, having some sort of video content, it's the best of in that video. So we say 10 minutes, but let's face it, right? Like a panel is going to have a certain amount of space and time to review your application. So you want the best of that performance, the best of your choreography. And that's what we encourage you to put as your work samples.
Okay. Please upload. Work samples number 6 for visual artists only to complete. Visual artists must submit 6 to 8 pieces. All other artists do not submit more than 5 samples.
So Maxwell, I don't know if this really answered your question, but if you are submitting 4 of your songs that you as a music producer have, but you want to show one of the performances, there is a space available, and you can choose 2 ways to do this: additional notes and put the link to the performance of that said song. Or if it's more applicable in your situation that you want to show the performance of one of the songs, then that would be something that you would upload. So you can put links into the additional notes section. Just keep in mind that the panelists are going to be really focused on what is being uploaded, and that is additional information. So you want to call that out as best as you can.
Okay, some support materials. I see that this is an optional field for you. However, you can submit up to 5 support materials, which include brochures, programs, news articles, letters of recommendations, spotlight videos from news coverage, and testimonials. These materials should be original or as close to the original as possible. In other words, avoid making copies of copies because they come through where they're not legible.
So for instance, like say you do want a letter of recommendation, one of the tips that we've expressed here is maybe you start that letter. If you have someone in mind that would really support you, but you know how everybody has something going on. So to get that in front of them, you might want to start it. Send it to them, say, hey, could you please like look this over, put in your own words and send back to me. And then the other part is just grabbing anything that you have. Like you could have been in an art show, and the bill or the creative that went out. Grab that. That's your support materials. You were involved in that show. Put that in there. So let's go to our questions, because there is one here that we should talk about, because I was going to respond in just like in words, but I think this really needs a little bit more focus. So is the grant focused on production of art or promotion of our art? So great question. And the only way to answer that is that to understand the essence of the art or the grant itself, which is the emerging artist grant. So as an emerging, you're at that peak, you're at that moment where if I just get over this, then right, all things universe opens up and you get to explore your art in many different ways. So realistically, you're working towards that exhibition, which is to promote you as an artist. And then it's the journey. It's the journey from how you are as an artist and your art practice and what the panel sees, and do they feel that you are at that emerging point where you're that butterfly, you're about ready to emerge and come out and just like give to the world all of your goodness in your art practice. So really it's kind of both. It's really it's looking at how you focus on your individual art practices, and then during the course of the grant it is also promoting you as an artist. And then how do you do that? And that's where the mentorship comes in, because as professional artists, they all have their little ways that they work as an artist. And it could be interesting to find out, yeah, I would really like to work like that, but no, that's not going to work for me. And so it really is the journey of exploring what life is like as a professional artist, and then working towards that during the grant period.
Okay, thank you. That's good information to know. Okay, you're
So we're
emerging.
almost there, Charlene. We are almost there. And, we're going through this so quickly here. It's only like half past the hour, but trust me, right? Like getting all of this information in order to get to this part of the application, like you should give yourself a treat of some sort because this is the part that we're all working towards in an application, is to the completion, and the many hours of work that it took to get here should be recognized. And so that's why we encourage you to take this in bits and pieces. If you understand the guidelines and know what you're looking at for the application and what needs to be uploaded, put a folder on your computer, put those work samples together, name them so that it's understandable. Put your CV, your residency, like all of those items so that you have them, and so that you too can enter this application pretty quickly and get here just like we did. But I know it's a psychological thing, right? Like take your time, chunk this out. If you complete one section, congratulate yourself, and then move on.
Okay, well, we're at the last part. I want to make sure that all of my circles are completed or marked as complete as I go through. Okay, so we are at the last one here, and this one is highly important here. This is the final task in the application stage. Once you mark all tasks complete in this stage, you will be asked if you want to review or submit. We highly recommend that you review your completed application before your final submit, because once you submit it that second time, there's no going back to make any changes. So you are able to review your application. To the left, it says to review, and you can open that up and you can review all of your answers. And if you need to go back to make changes, you can. Okay, so the information contained within is true. And this is what you're stating. It is true and complete to the best of your knowledge. I'm a legal resident of Pinellas County and has been for 1 year. Prior to the start date of the Emerging Artist application period, you're 18 years and older. The submitted work samples are a representation of my artwork. I understand and agree to the Emerging Artist Grant Application Guidelines. You will select yes. And this is your other opportunity if you wanted to save and continue, or you can mark it as complete. Once you've done,
So we're here. So the part that Charlene mentioned about reviewing, if you click on review and really, have people look at it, you can download it right here on this screen. And if there's something that, someone else catches, like that's a good thing. You could do this in the beginning too, to prep like for your CV, for your artist statement. Have someone that knows you, because as artists, like sometimes we see ourselves, but we don't really see ourselves. And so that's just a tip to really allow some time and space, is to download the application and to get a feel for what you're about ready to submit.
Okay. I was at a stage where I could have submitted my application from that page, or I could submit here. Once you have to submit, it does give you that third opportunity to review. Okay, then you are done. And you can go back and review your application. However, you cannot make any additional changes.
Great. So we're here for questions if you have them. If not, you can always email us at grants@creativepinellas.org. Connect directly with Charlene and get your questions answered at grants@creativepinellas.org. And so, Charlene, I don't see any other questions out there in the crowd this evening.
Well, this was an easy class to get through.
Well, we're a week out, so we encourage you to get into those applications, hit submit. we want you to just go through the experience, and we will encourage you along the way. We'll be your cheerleaders.
That is for sure.
All right. Well, I don't know if there's anything else that that we can share this evening. I'm just kind of hanging just to see if there's any other questions. We thank you so much for joining us this evening, and we will see you soon.